Nipples showing. What's up, everybody? Benji Bruce here with SpeakingLifestyle.com, and I want to talk about how do you present on camera, on video, without using notes. Now, if you are presenting, if you're creating content in general, you're going to be presenting on camera, but you don't want to like keep looking off to the side or just like looking at your notes wherever they are, especially if it's a short video. Now, longer videos, you usually do want to use notes. Otherwise, you're just going to forget what you're talking about. And so there's nothing wrong with using notes. But with shorter videos like this one, there's no reason to use notes, especially a teleprompter. You just got to get good enough to not use it like me. No, I'm just kidding. Sort of. But here's the thing. How do you actually present without using notes in general? And so, well, first things first, you can't talk about things you don't really know about. And so if you start talking about things that you understand, but you haven't like truly mastered, then what's going to happen is you're just going to forget as you're presenting. Like as you're talking, you're going to be like, oh yeah, what was the other thing? Whereas like if you truly know something, you really do not need notes on it. And so that's the thing. Like let's say, imagine someone tells you, talk about your family. You don't need notes on that. Like, you know your family. You don't need to be like, hold on a second. Oh yeah, my son's name is... Like, you don't need to do that. Like, you just know. And the same goes with what it is you're talking about. When you truly know what it is you're talking about, you don't really need notes. But here's the thing. So when you are presenting, one of the things that I'll do in videos is, especially with shorter videos, is you'll rarely see me talk about multiple things in that video. Because the more things you talk about in the video, the more you have to remember. And so I don't want to remember all this stuff. I'm not trying to train my memory to be some freaking memory champ or anything like that. So what I do is I essentially just keep everything to where I'm only going to talk about one or two things in the actual video. And so you focus on just one or two things. On top of that, you essentially think in terms of, okay, I can tell stories, and the story will essentially remind you on what point you're trying to make. So you're sitting there, you're saying, all right, everybody, we're going to talk about how to use remotes with your cameras. You know, there was one day back in the day when soda was 10 cents a pop. You youngins wouldn't know about that. Back in the day and so like you're telling a story, and the story is something you're going to easily remember. So that's essentially going to help you when it comes to just remembering in general, is just telling stories, and you're focusing on just a couple things in general. So that's like the main thing in terms of here's how you present on camera without using a ton of notes, in terms of you just essentially remember, or you only say things that you actually master, and then you only say things in terms of just like one thing at a time. But if you like truly want to just keep talking and talking and talking, like some of you guys, you're blabbermouths. You're just like, I just want to talk. But if you truly just want to keep talking and it's going to be a long video, you can use the jump cuts, like in editing. So it doesn't matter. Let's say you have notes somewhere to the side, wherever. Let's say you have notes and you're sitting there talking. You're like, all right, here's how you do this. Here's how you do that, blah, 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 blah. And then you look over to notes or whatever. There's nothing wrong with cutting that out. And then you just do a jump cut. You cut that little part out where you looked. Like, okay, let me look at my notes. Okay, cool. And then you go. You just cut that part out. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And so that's the other thing when it comes to just the videos. The final thing that I always tell people when it comes to presenting on camera and not using notes is, people don't really focus on the words that you're saying. They focus on how you say what you say. And that's what you want to focus on. So let's say you're creating a video. You know that, hey, I'm going to talk about 1, 2, maybe 3 things in the video. And you just get the concept of what it is you want to talk about. At that point, you focus on how you're presenting. You're focused on your energy throughout the video. You're focusing on things like that, not specifically the exact word for word in terms of how am I going to really say this. It's just a matter of how am I going to communicate this in a way where people are going to pay attention. So you focus more on how you say what you say, and that's when you won't really need to actually remember everything that you're going to say in the video. So those are just really simple tips in terms of presenting on camera without like using like notes and all that sort of stuff. I do want to emphasize the fact that if you're actually filming a longer video, there's nothing wrong with using notes. There's even nothing wrong with literally just doing that, just glancing. All right, like there's nothing wrong with doing that either. But if you want to get on my level, you know what you got to do.